Hey students, this is lesson 622. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to use point slope form to write equations of lines. It's just a new form of linear equation. Go ahead and do the review 1, 2, and 3 here and pause, and then I'll check back with you. Okay, point slope form of a linear equation looks like this. Point slope form of an equation of non-vertical line with slope m and through point x sub 1, y sub 1, so you have the slope at one point, is y minus y sub 1. So this is the y coordinate of the point you're going through. And slope times x minus the quantity x minus x sub 1, where x is the x coordinate of the point you're choosing. So in the above, x sub 1, y sub 1 represents a point on your graph of your line. And the m represents the slope, just like before. And just to quickly kind of let you know where this comes from, you might be familiar with this, you should be familiar with this, that the slope is equal to subtract the y coordinates to get the rise, subtract the x coordinates to get the run. Well, another form of this equation is this. If I just take, since I have y minus y sub 1 and I'm dividing it by x minus x sub 1, it's the same as if I multiply x minus x sub 1 times the slope, and that's equal to y minus y sub 1. And then if I just switch that around, you have the point slope form of a line. So you just have to get familiar with it and start using it. It's on that pink formula sheet. So for the first problem here, we're just going to learn how to substitute values into this formula. So it helps to write it down until so you kind of get used to it. All right, and remember that the m gets replaced with the slope, which is 3. So let's just put that where the m is. And this x here is the x in your equation, so you don't ever substitute anything for that. And this y is the y value in the equation, so you're not going to substitute for that. But this x sub 1 and this y sub 1 is this point. Okay, so we're going to subtract the y value, which is negative 4. And we're going to subtract the x value, which is 1. And then we can simplify it a little bit here. This part, y minus negative 4, is the same as y plus 4. And then that's equal to 3 times the quantity x minus 1. All right, you try that. I'll pause here. All right, we can also use this form to make graphs. We just have to identify the different parts. And of course, this part right here, negative 2, that's our slope. Yeah. Okay, and remember in the form, we have y minus y sub 1 is equal to the slope times x minus x sub 1. Okay, so whatever we're subtracting from x is x sub 1. So I'm just going to write that. This is my point. And my x sub 1 is right here. The 2 is the number I'm subtracting. Whatever I'm subtracting from y is my y sub 1. And right now it's written as addition, so to get it to be subtraction, I'm going to change it to subtracting negative, so I can see that I'm subtracting negative 3 there. So now I have my point. I'm going to put that on my graph, 2, negative 3. And that's right there. Then I'm going to use my slope, negative 2. I'm going to write it as a rise and a run. And negative 2 means you are going in a down direction, 2. And a 1 means you are going in right 1. So to get another point, I go down 2, right 1. And that puts me there, 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 and so on. And now I can draw a line through those to represent that graph. All right. Go ahead and pause here, and you can try a problem like that. See if you get how to do this. All right, the next thing we're going to do is learn how to write an equation with 2 points using this new form. And so the first thing we need to do, again, our form is right here. our y minus y sub 1 equals the slope times the quantity x minus x sub 1. And actually, I'm going to leave this one to you. I'm going to go back one, and I'm going to do this one right here. Okay, we'll come back to that other one. So I need a point and a slope, and my slope is m. So let's just go ahead and use our slope formula to get that. Our y2 minus y1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So here's my y, it's 4 and 1. And then my x's are 4 and negative 2. And if I simplify that, I get 3 over 6, which is 1/2. So that's the value I'm going to put right there where the m is. Now I just need a point on a graph, and you can use either one, but I think this was an easier one with both positive values. So we're going to put this 4 right here where this x is, and we're going to put this 4 right here where this y is. So we get y minus 4 equals 1/2 times quantity x minus 4. Okay. All right, you try that now on this problem. All right, one last thing we want to do is just take a real situation. Use this, use the point slope form to help us come up with an equation. Now this one says we want it in slope intercept form, and I'll show you how to do that. But the first thing we're going to do is use the point slope form just to get an equation. And what we'll do is just transform that equation into slope intercept form. So we need a couple things. We need to know the slope here. And we can just use the slope formula and just pick 2 points to use. So I'll just do the first 2 here. We're going to let the wages be y and the hours worked be x. So I'm going to subtract my y values, 210 minus 130. And then I'm going to subtract my hours worked. And 210 minus 130 is 80. 10 minus 5 is 5, and if I divide that, I get 16. That's my slope, and what that means is the person earned $16 per hour. A rate is always a slope. So $16 per hour, that goes right here where the m is. Okay, the x and the y, first x and y both stay there. Now, all I need to do is choose any x value and any y value that corresponds to that. So I'm just going to use the first 2 here. So x is 5 and y is 130. So let's put 130 there. Let's put 5 there. And now we want this in slope-intercept form. And slope-intercept form is just solving it for y. So I just need y equals mx plus b. To do that, all I have to do is simplify this equation. First thing I'm going to do is use the distributive property here and multiply 16 times x and 16 times 5, and that's 80. Okay, then all I'm going to do is add 130 to both sides, and I get y equals 16x plus 50. And now that is in slope-intercept form. And one last question it asks, what do the slope and the y-intercept represent? We talked about the slope already representing the hourly wage, the rate, how much it goes up by every hour. So that's the slope. It's the hourly raise. And the y-intercept, 50, means that for some reason, if Julio works 0 hours, he gets $50, which means he must get some sort of a commission or some kind of a amount on his paycheck weekly before his hours start. All right, so go ahead and try a problem like that. All right, that's it for the lesson. we'll work on some more of these problems in class and try and get comfortable using point slope form. I'll see you next time in class.